What happens when a CEO goes undercover to fix falling profit margins only to end up catching an employee in his arms as she collapses from exhaustion? Zayden Sutter bought the 7-location diner chain 5 years ago. It had been a dying brand, stuck in the past. He modernized the menus, upgraded the kitchens, and poured money into marketing. Sales recovered, then sputtered again last quarter, especially at the 3rd location. Complaints weren't pouring in, but something felt off. The numbers were thin. Customer ratings were dropping. And his district manager kept brushing it off as just a rough patch. Zayden didn't believe in rough patches. He believed in answers. So he showed up at the 3rd location in a full disguise, graying beard, loose flannel name tag that read Paul. He told the store manager he was a new trainee sent over from another location. Since it was a chain, no one knew what the real CEO looked like. Most had never met him. He stayed behind the scenes, letting the district team run day-to-day operations. That was starting to feel like a mistake. The manager, a guy named Brent, barely looked up from his phone when Zayden introduced himself. "Yeah, whatever. Go help Kaelyn on the floor. She'll show you what to do." Kaelyn, Zayden followed a fast-moving woman around 30, apron dusted in flour, headset crackling orders in one ear. She moved like she had no time to waste. "You're my trainee," she asked, tying her hair into a bun as she tossed a basket of fries. "Okay." Rule 1: don't wait for instructions. If you see trash, pick it up. If you see a customer waiting, greet them. Brent doesn't do anything, so we run this place ourselves. Zayden raised an eyebrow. "You mean the manager?" Kaelyn gave a short laugh. "He manages his phone and disappears during rush. Don't expect help." The lunch shift hit like a storm. Zayden jumped in where he could, refilling drinks, bussing tables, dropping food. Kaelyn did everything else. She waited tables, trained him, handled complaints, and even mopped up a spill without asking anyone to help. She was fast but kind, always smiling at customers even when she clearly looked dead on her feet. In the back room during a short break, she downed half a granola bar in silence. "You always work like this?" Zayden asked. She nodded, then paused. "Yeah, I have to. I've got a 7-year-old. Her name's Gianna. School, rent, groceries, it adds up. I pick up extra shifts when others call out. You get used to it." Zayden didn't like that answer. "What about the others? Why are they calling out so much?" Kaelyn shrugged. "We're short 4 people. 2 quit last month, 1 got sick. Brent says corporate hasn't approved any new hires yet." He frowned. "Really? No one else wants to work?" "Oh, people apply. Brent just doesn't want to train anyone, says it's too much work." Zayden clenched his jaw. That explained the staff shortage. Later that afternoon, the pace slowed. Zayden noticed Kaelyn leaning on the counter, swaying slightly. Her face was pale. She hadn't eaten anything but that granola bar. Then she stepped forward and her knees buckled. He moved without thinking. One arm caught her before she hit the tile. Hey, I got you," he said, guiding her gently to the ground. A teenage server nearby screamed. Brent came out of the office finally, looking annoyed. "What the hell happened?" She collapsed. Zayden snapped. "Call someone." Kaelyn's eyes fluttered open. "I'm okay, just dizzy." "No, you're not," Zayden said. "You need to sit, you need food, and someone needs to call her emergency contact." Brent rubbed his eyes. "She always does this, dramatic, she'll be fine in a minute." Zayden stared at him. She collapsed. "You think that's normal?" Brent shrugged and turned around. "You don't know her, just give her a sec." Zayden helped Kaelyn to a seat in the back. One of the newer waitresses brought her water and a sandwich from the kitchen without being told. Zayden sat quietly beside her. "You really okay?" he asked. Kaelyn looked embarrassed. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make a scene. I haven't had a break in 2 days. Brent kept texting me to come in. I couldn't say no." Zayden's heart twisted. He waited until she finished the sandwich, then stood. "I'll be right back." He marched into the office and shut the door behind him. Brent was back on his phone. Zayden pulled off the fake beard and tossed the name tag on the desk. Brent looked up. My name's Zayden Sutter," he said. "I own this place." Brent went pale. "You're fired, right now." "You're kidding. No, you ignored staffing requests. Let this place run into the ground." Let Kaelyn nearly pass out on shift. You think I'm kidding? Brent opened his mouth, then closed it. He didn't say another word as he packed his things. Zayden stepped out of the office. The staff froze. Kaelyn blinked. Wait, what's going on? He looked at her, voice calm. I'm not Paul. I own this company. I came undercover to see what was happening here. The room went silent. Kaelyn's mouth opened, then closed. You caught me. Zayden nodded, his voice softer. Yeah, and I'm really glad I did. The next morning started earlier than usual. Zayden sat alone in the booth by the front window, sipping black coffee in silence while watching the staff trickle in. No disguise today, no beard, no fake name tag. Just the real weight of ownership settling into his shoulders. The air held a different tension now. Everyone who had worked the previous day knew who he was. A few newer employees whispered near the prep station, stealing glances at him, but no one approached right away. Kaelyn came in last, walking slower than usual. Her eyes moved to the booth, narrowed slightly, then looked away as she tied her apron. She didn't speak. Zayden stood and walked over. You okay to work today? He asked, keeping his tone careful. I'm working, she said, not quite meeting his eyes. What else am I supposed to do? You don't owe me anything, he said. You shouldn't be here unless you're ready. I don't really get to choose that, she said. Bills didn't disappear overnight. Zayden nodded. I get that. But I'm not going to let yesterday happen again. Kaelyn exhaled through her nose, half a laugh but not amused. You say that like it's new. This place eats people alive. I'm just one of the ones who stuck around. That hit harder than it should have. He didn't reply. Just stepped back and let her work. By mid-morning, he was in the back office reviewing paperwork. Brent had left the place in chaos. Schedules were scribbled last minute. Applications from potential hires were sitting in a drawer unopened. Half of them had been submitted weeks ago. A few were from people with actual restaurant experience. He pulled them out and started calling out front. The floor was holding but clearly strained. Kaelyn worked the register while training a nervous teen named Rachel. One of the fry cooks was covering dish duty during downtime, which meant orders were slower. Customers were mostly patient, but a few were clearly irritated. Zayden stepped back into the kitchen and watched for a minute. No yelling, no breakdowns, just people doing too much with too little. He stepped up next to the cook, a tall man with a long scar down one arm and a quiet face. You're not supposed to be doing dishes, are you? Zayden asked. The man didn't look up. No one else is gonna do it. We got through breakfast. I'll clean these, then jump back on the grill. What's your name, Marcus? Zayden watched him for a moment, then rolled up his sleeves. Trade me, you go cook. Marcus paused, blinked, then nodded once and walked off without a word. Zayden took his spot at the sink and started scrubbing. It didn't take long before Kaelyn appeared around the corner, eyes narrowing again. What are you doing? Helping, he said, not looking up. You're helping by cleaning dishes. I'm helping by doing what needs to be done. She crossed her arms. You're the owner. You're not supposed to be back here elbow deep in grease. Zayden rinsed a tray and stacked it. Maybe that's part of the problem. She didn't respond right away, then she said quietly, Brent wouldn't even fix the paper towel holder. It's been broken for 2 months. I know, Zayden said. I saw the email chain. He ignored it. Kaelyn's mouth tightened. That wasn't even the worst of it. He used to cancel people's breaks if we were busy, said if we sat down we'd never get back up. Zayden stopped scrubbing. He said that to you more than once. Why didn't you report it? To who? She asked. He always said corporate backed him, told us we were replaceable. Zayden turned back to the sink, jaw tight. He was wrong. She didn't push the conversation further, just walked off. That afternoon, Zayden gathered the entire staff in the dining room. Some stood, some leaned against tables, all of them wary. I know this is uncomfortable, Zayden began. Me showing up like this, pulling off a fake beard in the middle of your shift, but I didn't come here to check boxes. I came to see what's actually happening. Rachel, the new girl, raised a trembling hand. Are we all getting fired? Zayden shook his head. No, no one's getting fired for what's been happening. That's not on you. You've been covering for a broken system. He looked around the room. Brent's gone. Effective immediately, you'll never answer to him again. There was an audible exhale from someone near the back. A few heads turned, no one spoke. I've already started reviewing applications that were ignored. We'll be hiring more help. No more double shifts unless you ask for them. No one works sick. No one skips meals. That ends now. A server in her 20s raised her hand. Can we talk about the tipping system? Brent used to pull tips and divide them how he wanted. Some days I'd work 10 hours and get less than people who came in for 2. Zayden blinked. He redistributed tips, she nodded. Said it made things fair. That's theft, Zayden said flatly. If you earn tips, they're yours. We'll fix that. Another voice chimed in. He used to let his cousin clock in and leave, said it was payroll padding. Zayden stared. Did anyone else know that? Kaelyn stepped forward. We all did, we just stopped talking about it. Zayden nodded slowly. From now on, if you see something wrong, you come to me. Directly, I'll leave my contact information on the board. He paused. This store's been surviving on the backs of people who care. People who shouldn't have had to pick up the slack. That's over. He didn't expect applause. He didn't get it. What he got was silence and a few hard stares that finally began to soften. After the meeting, Kaelyn approached him again in the back. Her voice was quieter now, not cold, just tired. So what happens next? She asked. We rebuild, he said. I'm not disappearing again, not until this place runs the way it should. You're going to run it yourself? No. I'm going to find someone who deserves to, someone who listens, someone who actually shows up. She didn't respond, he added, and I want you to be part of that if you want it. Kaelyn hesitated. You trust me that much already? I saw how you handled a full shift with almost no backup. I saw how the others looked to you. That kind of leadership doesn't come with a title, it comes from doing the work. She took a breath. I'll think about it. Good, he said. Think about it. That night, after the doors closed, Zayden stayed behind and finished scrubbing the floor with Marcus. They didn't talk much. There wasn't much to say. But when Zayden finally stepped out into the cool air, arms sore, clothes damp, he felt something shift. Not fixed, not yet, but finally moving in the right direction, and he wasn't going anywhere, not this time. The next 5 days didn't bring a miracle. The gaps were still there, too few people, too many tables, and a schedule that looked like a game of Tetris played on hard mode. But something had shifted. Not in volume or flow, but in posture, in how people moved, how they spoke to each other. How they looked when they clocked in. Kaelyn still arrived early, still tied her apron tight and checked the register without being asked. But she didn't rush past Zayden when she saw him anymore. She nodded. Once. That was enough. He spent most of his time at the 3rd location now. Not as a fixture, not to hover, but to be visible. In the mornings, he sat in the back with a stack of resumes and a notebook. In the afternoons, he cleared tables or ran food if the floor was stretched too thin. And at night, he reviewed camera footage from the past month, not to punish, but to understand. It was on a Thursday, just after lunch, when one of the applicants arrived in person instead of calling. Zayden looked up from the booth by the window. A tall woman in her mid-40s stood hesitantly near the host stand, holding a folder. I'm here for the line cook opening, she said, voice low. Zayden stood. You're early, that's a good sign. He led her to the office, flipping through her resume on the way. Her name was Marisol. Trained at a culinary school in Oregon. Had worked at a mid-tier grill downtown until it shut down during the pandemic. Since then, she'd bounced between catering gigs and warehouse jobs. You've got more experience than this place usually sees, Zayden said, closing the folder. I just need hours, she said. And a kitchen that doesn't treat you like a ghost, he nodded once. You'll get a trial shift today if you're free. Marisol went straight to the back, changed into a spare apron, tied her hair and stepped onto the line without hesitation. Marcus gave her a quick rundown of the ticket system. Within 20 minutes, she was moving like she'd been there for weeks. Kaelyn passed by the kitchen, glanced in, and gave Zayden a look, not skeptical, curious. He leaned against the frame. She's good. Kaelyn folded her arms. We'll see if she stays. Why wouldn't she? People come in with good paper, she said. Then they realize what it's really like during dinner rush and disappear before payday. Zayden nodded. If she bolts, she bolts. But if she stays, she's yours to train. Kaelyn raised an eyebrow. Mine? You said you'd think about stepping up. I'm assuming you're still thinking. I am. Then think with responsibility. Give her a reason to stay. She looked past him at the kitchen, then back. Fine, but if she burns the flat top, that's on you. She walked off before he could answer. By Saturday, Marisol had not only stayed, she'd become the quiet backbone of the kitchen. She didn't talk much, didn't joke or linger, but she moved with calm precision. Orders came out faster, mistakes dropped, and for the first time in weeks, Marcus didn't have to do dishes during peak hours. That evening after close, Zayden found Kaelyn wiping down the soda machine with a cloth soaked in vinegar. You've been quiet about her, he said. She's steady, Kaelyn replied. I like steady. You think she's a good fit? She shows up, doesn't whine, doesn't flirt with customers. Doesn't try to pawn off work, that's rare. Zayden tilted his head. You've had people flirt with customers, Kaelyn gave a dry laugh. You don't want to know, he paused. Actually, I do. If there's stuff I missed, I want it out. Kaelyn looked at him, then set the cloth down. There was a guy, Chase. Short blonde hair, worked nights, used to offer free pie to women if they gave him their number. Brent thought it was funny. Zayden's jaw tightened. Is he still here? Quit 2 weeks ago. Said he was too good for diner work. Good riddance. Zayden nodded. That ever happens again, you tell me immediately. There's no tolerance for that. Ever. Kaelyn didn't respond, but she didn't look away either. He continued. You said before that Brent told people they were replaceable. I want to be clear that's not how this is going to work. If someone doesn't show up for their team, they're gone, but if they do, we back them. Kaelyn nodded once. Then you'd better back Marisol. She didn't even flinch when we ran out of clean pans, just grabbed a spatula and switched stations. I will, Zayden said. I'll back her. And I'll back you. She looked at him for a moment, then picked up the cloth again. Let's see if you mean it. The next blow came on Monday morning. Zayden was reviewing vendor invoices when he got a call from the payroll department. There was a discrepancy, a large one. Over the past 6 months, the third location had logged nearly 200 hours of payroll to a junior assistant who had never clocked in physically. Name? He asked. Tommy Reyes, came the reply. Zayden's stomach dropped. Brent's cousin. He hung up and scanned the archived schedules. There it was, Tommy's name inserted into shifts he'd never worked. Week after week, Zayden didn't waste time. He printed the records, highlighted every line, then walked straight to the staff area. Kaelyn was eating a banana near the dry storage shelves. You ever meet Brent's cousin? He asked. She looked up. Tommy, once, he came in to pick up a check, never worked a day. Zayden held up the paper. He got paid anyway. For 6 months, Kaelyn's eyes narrowed. How much? Just under 14,000. She didn't blink. That could have covered 2 hires, he nodded once. I've already alerted accounting. We'll take legal action, but I need to know, did anyone else know this was happening? Not officially. We all thought it was shady, but Brent said it was a corporate intern role, said it was above our pay grade to ask. Zayden's voice stayed even. That ends. From now on, if something feels wrong, you push, you ask. If someone tells you it's above your pay grade, you tell me. Kaelyn nodded. I can do that. I think you already are. That night, he called an emergency meeting, no managers, just floor staff, kitchen, and himself. He stood near the host stand, papers in hand. There's been theft, he said. Not from any of you, but it affected all of you. He laid out the details, the fake hours, the ghost employee, the falsified approvals. No names were held back. I can't undo what you lost. But I can make sure every hour you work going forward is real, respected, and protected. He paused. Because you've earned that. No one clapped. No one needed to. After the meeting, Kaelyn approached him again, arms crossed, eyes steady. You know what would go a long way. What's that? Let us pick the next manager. Zayden raised an eyebrow. All of you, just the ones who stayed, who stuck it through, we know what we need. He considered that. All right, he said. Put together names, I'll review them. But the final vote's yours, Kaelyn nodded. Then we've got work to do. Zayden smiled slightly, not out of pride, but because for the first time in a long time someone else had picked up the weight not out of obligation but ownership. And that's when he knew this wasn't his store anymore. Not in the way it used to be, they were building something new. Together. The final interviews finished on a wet Tuesday morning. Rain tapped against the windows in slow, steady rhythms as the staff gathered in the dining room for what Zayden told them would be the final meeting before changes took effect. Kaelyn stood near the front, arms behind her back, posture straight but calm. She hadn't volunteered to lead anything, but over the past week, no one made a decision without checking with her first. Zayden stepped up, no papers in hand this time. He didn't need them. All 3 candidates for the new store manager position have been interviewed, he said. Each brought something different to the table, but I told you the final vote was up to you. He pointed to a locked box sitting on the counter. You've all cast your ballots. I didn't look at them, didn't ask anyone to. Whatever's in there, I'll stand behind. He opened the box slowly, pulling out the slips one by one, reading them silently. There were no surprises. Every single one of them had written the same name. He looked up, meeting Kaelyn's eyes. It's unanimous. She blinked once. You serious? You're the new manager, Kaelyn, if you want it. There was no applause, no dramatic gasps, just a long, quiet pause and then a few nods around the room. One of the younger servers clapped twice before stopping, unsure if it was the right moment. Kaelyn didn't move. I'm not trained. You have 90 days to complete your certification, Zayden said. I'll cover the cost. You'll shadow a regional supervisor twice a week and I'll sit in on every review for the first month. What about Gianna? She asked. You'll have schedule control. No more last-minute doubles, no more overnight texts. Kaelyn looked around the room, then back at him. And if I say no, then I'll find someone else, but it won't be as good. She didn't smile, just nodded once. Then I'll do it. With that settled, the next few days shifted into preparation. The office, which had once been cluttered with Brent's junk, half-used cologne, energy drink cans, and a drawer full of expired coupons, was cleaned out and repainted. Kaelyn didn't want a new desk, just a second monitor and a working lock on the filing cabinet. Zayden approved both. On Thursday afternoon, he pulled her aside near the back cooler. There's one thing I haven't told you yet, he said. Kaelyn narrowed her eyes. That's not a great sentence to start with. Zayden handed her an envelope. This is your retroactive bonus. For the past 3 months where you acted like a manager without the title. She opened it, skimmed the check, then looked up. This is too much. No, it's not. You held this place together. That's not me being nice, that's math. We ran the numbers. You saved us more than you realize. She folded the check and pocketed it without another word. Later that evening, a woman in a dark blue blazer arrived. Her name was Erica, and she was a compliance auditor from corporate. Zayden had requested her visit quietly to review the rest of Brent's tenure in detail. They met in the office, Kaelyn's office now. Erica sat across from him, flipping through a binder. There's a pattern, she said. He falsified 6 equipment maintenance reports, overcharged on 2 vendor invoices, and approved overtime for a former employee who moved out of state last year. It's not just negligence, it's deliberate. Zayden leaned back. Can we recover anything? Maybe, legal's on it. But it's going to take time. Do it, he said. Whatever it costs. As she packed up, Erica glanced at the fresh coat of paint and the new scheduling board Kaelyn had installed. You've got a good one here, she said. I know, Zayden replied. Friday brought the first rush under Kaelyn's management. The floor was still understaffed, but she'd adjusted the layout, closed the corner section, reduced table turnover expectations, and brought in a former employee, Lewis, for a trial return shift. He'd left 6 months earlier when Brent docked his hours without warning. Kaelyn called him herself. Lewis arrived on time, stayed late, and didn't miss a beat. Zayden watched from the kitchen, arms folded as Kaelyn coordinated orders, reset the rotation, and calmly redirected a table that had seated itself without waiting. Sir, we've got something ready for you in just a moment, she said, her tone firm but respectful. Why can't we just sit here? Because that's not your section and it's not ready. I'll make sure you're taken care of. The man grumbled but moved. Kaelyn didn't flinch. Zayden turned to Marcus. How's it feel out here, lighter? Marcus said. Even during rush, Marcus cracked his knuckles. Rush is rush, but we're not holding our breath anymore. That night after close, Zayden found Kaelyn wiping down the drink station. I'm heading out of town tomorrow, he said. 2 days. Kaelyn didn't look up. Checking on the other stores. Yeah, I've been gone too long from them, but I'll be back Tuesday. She straightened up. We'll keep it steady. I know you will. He hesitated at the doorway. Why didn't you say anything sooner? He asked. Kaelyn blinked. About Brent, about any of it. You carried too much. She tilted her head. You weren't here. I should have been. Yeah, she said, but you're here now. He nodded and stepped out into the night. On Tuesday morning, he returned to find the lights already on and the prep list halfway done. Marisol was chopping onions with her usual quiet focus. Louis was restocking soda syrups. The music was low, the kitchen clean. Kaelyn appeared with a clipboard. Vendor called, she said. They're short 2 cases of potatoes. I already adjusted the menu, no wedges today, just fries. Zayden nodded. Good call. She handed him a sheet. I wrote up a new training guide. Rachel's getting promoted to full-time next week. Thought she could help onboard the new hires. He took the paper, scanned it. This is solid. Still needs polish. He looked up. You ever think about running more than one store? Kaelyn raised an eyebrow. One's enough for now. Fair. At noon, a man entered the restaurant in a pressed shirt and shiny shoes. He moved slowly, scanning the room with a clipboard. Zayden stepped out from behind the counter. Can I help you? The man introduced himself as a health inspector. Surprise visit. Routine check. Kaelyn appeared beside Zayden. Come on in, she said. Everything's logged. The inspector moved through the space, checking temps, inspecting storage, verifying labels. At the end, he nodded. Cleanest kitchen I've been in all month. Kaelyn tilted her head. Thanks. Zayden waited until the inspector left before speaking again. You know, he said, when I bought this place, I thought the hardest part would be modernizing the menu. Kaelyn leaned back against the counter. Turns out the hard part was just being present, he nodded. Turns out, she looked at the clock. Lunch rush in 10, you staying out front or hiding in the back? I'll take Expo. She grabbed the first ticket as it printed. Then let's go. They didn't need speeches. They didn't need applause, they just needed each other. And they showed up.